Hey YouTube, this is Jaden Storm, Country Team Shadow Strike, and this is going to be a deck profile on my Messiah deck. Now, there are very many different ways that you can build this deck, and this has been the most consistent build that I have been able to come up with. This deck does not have Blast Monks yet because my locals still hasn't, excuse me. My locals has still not gotten that promo pack, but I'm going to get around to just probably ordering them eventually. So it doesn't have this. Another grade 1 that this deck does not have is the Lady Battler, the White Dwarf, but we don't get that until the singles regionals down there in Houston around Halloween. So anyway, guys, let's just jump straight into this deck profile. So here we go. So, for the starting Vanguard, I play Spawn of the Spiral Nebula because this card gives you another lock to work with. Neon Messiah is good, but I just like this better. Basically, Generation Break 1, move it to the Soul, lock 1 unit on both sides of the board. So, next we play 4 copies of Pulse Monk of the Quaking Foot, and 4 Asteroid Wolf for 8 critical triggers. So that's pretty straightforward because we know what Amnesty does, and we want to push for high damage. Next we play 4 copies of Beloved Child of the Super String Fury. This card is basically the Margle. Shove it in the soul, plus 3k somewhere. We use this to help fuel our soul, so we can use it with Alter Ego's Generation Break. And then I play 1 of each of the heal triggers, just cuz. Next, we play 4 copies of Flowers in Vacuum Cosmo Wreath for our Perfect Guard, and it's our Unflipper, and we want to have the Unflipping power in this deck because we do Counterblast quite a fair amount. Then we play our 4 Dark Metal Chameleon, which is our Generation Break 1 unit. Whenever it is unlocked, you're allowed to unflip a damage, and it also has Resist. So, your Kagero Gear Chronicle, and Narukami and Shadow Paladins, they cannot touch this card, to much of their chagrin. But it's there to help us basically almost get Amnesty for free. So, and then we play 4 Destiny Dealer. This is our Stride Enabler and also helps us search out Alter Ego. Because we want Alter Ego in our hands as fast as possible. And then we play 2 Star Vader Vault Lines, which basically whenever he boosts a successful attack and it hits the Vanguard, you may choose one of your opponent's locked cards and Omega Lock it, but it's really just in there for filler. Both of these are going to become the promo. Sick and tired of screwing her name up. So it's going to become the promo. Grade 2s. We play 4 copies of Lady Battler of the Gravity Well. This is her ability is Generation Break 1, lock 1 of your own units, and this unit gets plus 4,000 power. So pretty straightforward. Then we play 3 copies of Awaking Messiah. This card is really good because whenever this unit is unlocked, you may select one of your rested rear guards, stand it back up, and it gains 2,000 power. So that's good. And then we play 2 copies of Sunset Edge Duskblade. He's our Generation Break 1 unit. Whenever he's boosted, you may Counterblast 1 and he attacks a Vanguard. You may lock one of your opponent's grade 2 or less rear guards. And then we also play 2 copies of Flash Gun Star Vader Osmium. So that kind of gives away one of the grade 3s, but Next, we play 4 copies of Alter Ego Messiah. So this is our main grade 3. This is what we want to get on, and this is what we want to start gaining some advantage with and causing some problems in the hand advantage department for our opponent. So basically his ability is Generation Break 2. Whenever a unit is unlocked, you may Soul Blast 1 and draw a card. So, and then his other ability, whenever you stride onto him, you may Counterblast 1 and lock 1 unit on your side of the field and 1 unit on your opponent's side of the field. For the rest of grade 3s, we played 2 Imaginary Plane Dragon. This is our 1 Legion in the deck because you do tend to thin this deck pretty quickly, and you can get on this to put your triggers back if you need to. But he's really just there as a backup Vanguard. And then I played 2 copies of Lady Gunner of the Neutron Star. I originally was playing 4 Alter Ego and 4 her, but you really don't want to ride her, and you can't always guarantee yourself that you're going to draw into one of your Destiny dealers to help bail you out to get Alter Ego, and you can't also bank on the fact of just drawing him. So it's really you want Alter Ego first. So. For the strides, we play the 1 Blizza, which is generally our first stride unit, so we can get Alter Ego's Generation Break skill early, and we play the 1 copy of Genesis Dragon Judgment Messiah to flip over with Blizza. So, then I play 2 copies of Nebula Dragon Big Crunch Dragon. So this card is very, very good. His ability is you may Counterblast 1 and flip a copy of him face up. If you do, and you have 2 or more units in your G zone, you may choose. You basically lock an entire column. You Omega lock that column. So if your opponent has a column like this, they're Omega locked. So the lock lasts for 2 turns. So it's a good stall tactic if you're just trying to slow the game down a little bit. If you're playing against something like Aqua Force or Great Nature or Paladins, it can really put a stick in their craw, so to speak, and mess with their strategy. And then for our main G unit is we play 4 copies of Genesis Dragon Amnesty Messiah. You really want 4 copies of this card. I mean, you really necessarily only need 3. But I like having 4 because he's so good, and being able to swing for 40,000 plus a crit is pretty dumb. So, basically, whenever he attacks, you may Counterblast 1 and unlock as many units as you like. For every unit that you unlock, he gets 3,000 extra power. If you unlock at least 3 units, he gets +1 critical. So that's pretty good. So that's pretty much it, guys. Now, I will tell you, this deck, the part that it is really good at is the mid-late game. That is where it really shines. The part of this deck that can really get you in deep water fast is the early game. The early game is where this deck struggles because it really just doesn't have a good setup. Because, to be real honest, the part that hurts this deck, even if you run Blast Monk and you alter this a little bit, there really isn't a go-to grade 2 unit that you want to ride. And there's really none of these units that you want to stick out there and start attacking with unless, you have shield. So if you just ride, swing, that gives your opponent 2 turns to flood their field and attack you. You might be able to stop some of them, but then you're out of hand, and then you possibly, when you ride Alter Ego, you can't stride. I mean, this deck can really struggle sometimes if it does not draw the right setup. But it is one of the best decks in the game right now. For the simple fact being, if you do get just basically enough to sustain yourself to where you can get his skill active, to where you can start drawing more cards, if you can last that long just off drawing triggers, that's when this deck becomes deadly. So just be aware. But this deck is good, guys, so do not let me turn you off of it if you want to build it. I will warn you, this deck is still pretty pricey because Amnesty is a generation rare. I think Nebula is still about 15 apiece. Imaginary Plane really isn't worth much. I do have a Zodiac build of this deck. If you want to see the Zodiac version, let me know. But that's pretty much it, guys. It really doesn't... the main deck is actually really not that expensive, outside the Perfect Guards and the Alter Egos, because they're going to get you about $10 a piece for the Alter Egos if you want the rare, the shiny ones. But and then the Perfect Guards, they're still floating around like 15 to 20 a piece. The Dark Metal Chameleons, I'd say, are about 10. But anyway, guys, that is my Messiah deck. It is pretty straightforward. But if you would like to see my take on the Zodiac build, please just in the comment section below tell me, and I will slap it together and let you guys know what I think. So, anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this deck profile. As much as I enjoyed bringing it to you, I'm really excited that I finally have this deck. I'm finally starting to play with it again because I really wasn't happy with this deck when it wasn't functioning the way I wanted it to. The build wasn't bad. It's just I was drawing absolutely terrible, you know, which isn't really that great of an excuse. But if I just don't find, if you just don't draw well with the decks, sometimes it's better just to set it aside and not mess with it for a while, and that's kind of what I've been doing. And like I've shown you guys, I've been messing around with that Blade Master deck I showed you guys that I'm having a lot of fun with. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed my Messiah deck profile. I really enjoyed playing with it. It is a lot of fun. So in the comment section below, guys, feel free to share your thoughts, give me suggestions. If you want to see the Zodiac build, please let me know, and I will do so. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, thumbs up this video, share it with your friends, and I'll see you next time.